Great. All right. It being the appointed time of 9 o'clock, we'll open the JLCAR meeting for June. And Carol, would you lead us in the, I'm sorry, Representative McGuire, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Representative. First order of business is the minutes from the previous meeting. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved by Senator Ward, seconded by Senator Innes. All those in favor of any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of minutes as written and presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are adopted. Next up is the consent calendar. Is there any items that anybody wishes to remove from the consent calendar? I will say I did remove one item from the consent calendar as of last night. The fish and game item was on the consent. I asked it to be pulled. Is there any other items on the consent calendar he wishes to remove? If not, I entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
It's been moved by Representative Lynn, seconded by Representative Schmidt. All those in favor of the consent calendar signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the consent calendar is adopted. Moving on to the regular calendar. Oh, yeah, let's see, who do we need, Doug, who do we have missing and who do we need to see?
Here.
So we'll see, who's the other alternate? Is it so we'll see, Senator, Magoo for, who's missing? What's that? Yeah, that's right. When there's only, whichever, be the fifth senator. How's that? Yeah, Reardon. Yeah. Great. All right. With that, well, I'm going to just reorder the calendar a little bit. I'm going to take up the HHS first. There's a request to postpone this. We don't need a waiver. Agency's still working on some things, and Representative Leon asked that we postpone it. She couldn't be here today. Is there any objection to postponement? Seeing none, this item will be postponed till next week. And I'll take OPLC. Item number 2547.
So this is an item that we had on the agenda last month. It has to do with the amendments to licensure and discipline of regulated professions. The reason that it was moved to this month is because there were some concerns regarding the form having a lot of questions more geared toward the health professionals. We did receive a response from the agency. They did state that they did not make any changes from the previous version except to capitalize, bold, underline, and center the prefer not answer any questions box, which is at the bottom of page 1. So someone could just check that and move all the way down to the other items. They also made a point of stating that most of the paper forms are not going to be used. It's mostly going to be online, so it'll be a dynamic form. So once you check that box, it should automatically bring you to the next part of the form.
Representative McGuire, you had questions and comments about this. Does this help you in any way? We can move back. I mean, I think our problem is this isn't a policy item. And I'm not sure it's a reason to object. We asked them, and I think they've made a little bit better effort, but.
The concern I have is that at least one board feels as though they're not being involved in the discussions on this, even though they're trying to. And I don't think that's a matter for JLCAR as much as a matter for the director to keep an eye on the operations.
Agency's response?
Yes, happy to do that. We're certainly reviewing the application as we're integrating into more technological solutions, and we'll continue to make it user-friendly. Already in plans is to utilize some logic within the application, so anyone within a technical profession. So if there's questions that absolutely do not apply, it will be there. It could expand, but it will be kind of collapsed, if you will, in that application. So because it's part of the form, it will be in there, but it will not automatically open up to the full length of questions. So even in that regard, so we're working on some technological solutions as well, while not having to maintain the separate list in the number of healthcare professions where it has to live. So trying to balance it there, and happy to consider further feedback.
And I'm
State your
sorry,
name, please. The
Yeah.
other question or concern that I have is that this may be fine for the initial licensing application, but the application for renewal should be a lot shorter and easier to fill in because the data is already there. And I know a number of other licensees are concerned that there's too much being asked for at renewal. And I don't know what you can do about that, but logically speaking, you should say, okay, my license number is such and such, my contact information hasn't changed, I've done my continuing education check, and here's the check. And there shouldn't be much more than that.
So again, Representative, I think as the state of New Hampshire moves into the 21st century, we're going to have a later issue with fishing game around online registrations. A lot of our agencies are moving to online. I think a lot of these things will be addressed, including like, the simple technology, pick your license at the top, it automatically collapses all the components that don't apply to you, which is what I understand from the director, the technology that they're going to be implementing. We just got a new system for you as well recently, didn't we?
We're in the middle of building and implementing. And I will just say for the record, good morning, Deanna Jers, Executive Director at OPLC.
Absent that, entertain a motion to approve. All right, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second? Moved by Senator Lang, second by Senator Innes. Is there any further discussion on OPLC 2547? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and it is adopted. Next up is Department of Natural and Cultural Resources 2551.
Yeah, so this rule is on the volunteer programs that the agency does. There's only one substantive comment, and you'll see that at the top of page 1 of the conditional approval request packet. So this proposal is implementing a statute for the first time, and that statute was enacted in 2010 and then was amended again in 2017. The statute does affirmatively direct the agency to adopt rules necessary to implement the Adopt a State Park program. And it specifically it tells the agency to adopt rules on the application and evaluation procedures involved in allowing interested persons to adopt a park and the procedures for terminating those sorts of agreements. So the agency has been operating this program, including requiring forms, at least since 2019. That's the date that was on the forms that were submitted with the initial proposal. And so operating the program and requiring the use of the forms without effective rules is a violation of 541A 2022, which states that no rules are valid unless adopted and unless they go through the rulemaking process. Sure. Here, I'll back up a little bit. Want to make sure everybody hears. So anyway, so the agency is trying to address and fix this problem today by bringing the rules forward now. And the agency did state that it's been having the DOJ review their applications. So they, have been at least utilizing that. So that's the only comment that's on the proposal. And that's all I have.
Great. Agencies, comments?
Good morning, Andrea Olson, Administrative Operations Supervisor for DNCR. We were operating under RSA 216A3H, which grants our commissioner the opportunity to enter an agreement with volunteers. That's what had been our overarching RSA until we realized about a year ago when the RSA,
It's 216A.
216A3L required us to adopt rules for the Adopt a Park program. So we have been trying to adhere to RSA, but about a year ago it was brought to our attention that we needed to implement rules for 216A3L as well, and that brings us here today.
Comments from the committee? So short version is you didn't, the forms didn't follow the rule. You realized you had to follow the rule. You're now following the rule. Great. Entertain a motion from the committee? Been moved by Senator List to approve 2551. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Representative Lynn. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The rule's adopted. Thank you for coming in. Don't do that again. Next up is Fish and Game, item 2570.
So this proposal has to do with the general administration of OHRV and snowmobile registration requirements. There was a new statute that it required the department to create an electronic online application process. So that's mostly what this proposal is dealing with. There seems to be a concern regarding the length of time to process those online applications. If someone were to mail in their application, it would be 5 days according to the rule, which is not part of the proposal that deals with the mail-in. Under this proposal for electronic, it would be 10 days. In the initial proposal, the department did have this as 20 days to process the electronic application and received public comments raising concerns about that length of time. In the public comment summary, the department did respond that they were unsure of the workload that was going to result from these online applications, and therefore that's why it was a bit longer, but they did acknowledge the concern and they changed it from 20 days to 10 days. In looking at RSA 215A and RSA 215C, I did not see any statutory deadline for processing applications. So the only statutory requirement is 541A 29, which is 30 days to get back if there's issues and 60 days to approve or deny. So besides that, I didn't have any further comments.
Thank you. So I was the one that pulled this from. I felt it was an odd situation where if you mail something in with a manual process, it only takes 5 days, but if you do something online, it takes 10 days. I was trying to get the consistency in our rules so that, so my request to you is, can we move this to 5 days to keep it consistent with the mail-in? And if so, I think we can do a conditional approval.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Committee. My name is Jessica Wheelahan. I'm the licensing and OHRV supervisor at Fish and Game. So we originally had this at 20 days. Again, we aren't sure what the workload is going to be. Ultimately, we did settle on 10, and we would be hesitant to move it from there, not unwilling, but hesitant. A, we don't know the workload. B, there's the added issue, the way these come in, it's an overnight file transfer, and we worry that people are going to think as soon as they hit submit online, that starts your counter for business day. Most people understand that when you mail an application in, it takes time. Once we stamp it, that's our 5 business days. Usually it takes us half a day. But with this file transfer, it could take an additional 1 to 2 business days for it to actually get to us before everything's verified through the online vendor. So that has a built-in kind of 2-day window on top of it. So we have a couple of concerns there. Again, we're not unwilling. We are concerned about that, though.
So being a tech guy for a living, again, I think people recognize that when I mail something in, there's a delay in processing when I submit it. Just because I started at midnight at 1:01 doesn't mean you get it at 8 a.m. that next morning. I'd ask that you agree to concede to the 5-day, and then we can readdress it through another interim rule or something else later on if it turns out it's unworkable.
All right, so you'd be willing to work with us if 5 days turns out to be completely...
Absolutely.
Yep, then we would amend that.
So this proposal already had a conditional approval, so this would be an oral amended
Yeah,
conditional
or
approval.
oral amended to the conditional approval. So given the oral amended conditional approval, is there any other further discussion? Seeing none, entertain a motion to approve as.
So moved.
So we have a conditional approval for the, I'll give it 1 second. We have a conditional approval with the oral amendment by Senator McGill, seconded by Carol McGuire, Senate Representative McGuire. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
And we're done with the regular calendar. Moving on to other business. Doug has to update us about something.
So
the day of technological advancements. Our database at OLS is about 20 years old, and from my understanding is it's being held together with duct tape and bubble gum at this point. So we're working towards updating the database, and we found out just a week or two ago that there's the online application process, the executive branch agency portal and the database, but are two separate components. And the agency portal side of things is ready to launch. So we'd like to do that. It does require an amendment to the manual, which we are redrafting, but I've drafted this letter here, which is based on something Dave Alakunis issued back in 2020. So essentially all it's going to do is change, instead of emailing things to us, the agencies are going to use this portal to submit their documents. It's going to clean things up on the form side. Even just formatting, you can't submit without answering all the questions, so it'll speed up the process a little bit. And then the documents, the rules and whatnot are going to just be uploaded. So instead of emailing to us, you upload, and it's relatively simple, but with a lot of benefits. One of the nice benefits, kind of off topic, is that, and it's already up there, when you pull up the agency portal side, it lists every rule of the agencies that's going to expire in the next rule, or year rather. So yeah, I was real happy to see that. It was a good thing to do. It's improvements all around, but we do need your approval to make this change. I don't know if it shows up very well, but June 23rd is highlighted. That's just a matter of when Director Vara signs it and we get it out, but it will be early next week if we get the approval today. The plan is to launch August 4th. We'll be working with the agencies through July to get them signed up, and then we're going to provide some trainings a little bit before launch, so everybody's on the same page, and it should be pretty smooth. We need a vote to approve the manual change, and this is going to supersede the manual. And then when we bring you the final manual, which could be a while, this will be incorporated.
Representative Breyer moves, Representative Burke seconds. Any further discussion? Taking a seat, kicking and screaming. So it's fine.
But they're going into the 20th century. I'm very glad that it does show easily the rules that are about to expire, because that has been a chronic problem.
What and how?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Anything else to come before the committee?
Okay.